Hey there, if you're somebody who is thinking about wanting to start a business in this live stream today, we're talking about how to start a business. Maybe you're thinking about turning your side hustle into a full-time business. Maybe you've got a business idea in the back of your head and you just want some quick tips and tricks. I've been there, I've done that. It's been quite successful for me, and I've started a number of businesses and helped a bunch of people start a number of businesses. So if you're thinking about going out on your own, being self-employed, or if you are self-employed and you need a little bit of oomph to get things moving and start that scaling and start that growth journey happening for you, then you're going to watch the rest of it. You're going to want to watch the rest of this video because I've got lots of great tips for you. The kind of advice that I give lots of people on a day-by-day basis when they ask me questions, what should I focus on? How should I do this? I'm going to give you 5 tips. We'll get going with 5. And then hopefully that'll help you to get going. So if you are thinking about starting a business, if you're employed and you think about going out on your own, or you're trying to get something going, or you've kind of got a business idea and it's starting to, and you're starting to work on it, then let's get stuck into it. We are live on LinkedIn and we are live on YouTube. So Luke's given me a dashboard here. He's helping me in the studio. He's given me a dashboard, and it's always really interesting for me to know where you are in the world watching from. So if you are on LinkedIn or if you are watching on YouTube, hit the comments. And hey, Jui, I hope I've said your name correctly. Good to see you there on LinkedIn. So yeah, hit that like button if you really are keen to get going with understanding how to start your own business and getting moving. Okay, the first thing, I'm going to get straight into it in terms of tips and tricks. The first thing that I want you to think about is think about what success looks like 2 or 3 or 4 years from now. How many employees do you have? How many customers do you have? Where are you, like geographically, where is your business? Maybe start to think about what the products or services that you are selling in 3 or 4 or 5 years' time. And why is that important? That is important because depending on where you are in the world, your corporate structure needs to be set up. And I believe you should be doing that from day one. And here in Australia, where it's called a proprietary limited, it's a company limited by shares. In the US, it's called an LLC. I want you to go right ahead and do that straight away. I've seen too many people start a business and their accountant has said, look, I think you should just keep it small. I think you should just be a sole trader. That's not the right approach, because you want to take the opportunity. An organization or a company is a separate entity. So if you're a sole trader and you kind of just, you're trading with someone or you're invoicing someone and you're putting money in your own personal bank account, it gets really messy, and it's not actually a company anyway. You haven't started a company if you're a sole trader. So have a look at the legal structures for organizations, for companies in your area. Now, I've also got a bit of advice for you is I would recommend against partnerships. So in terms of setting up a corporation, have a think about how you're putting that together. Here in Australia, we've got 3 really simple ones: sole traders, partnerships, and corporations. Now, I'm not saying don't go into business with somebody, but I don't like partnerships because it gets foggy down the track. And if one person's working harder than the other person, you'll end up resenting each other. And you will need to start off on the right foot with a shareholders agreement or a really good, what I like to call a disagreement. So it will go pear-shaped. I haven't seen a partnership that has gone smoothly. Husbands and wives struggle together, or husbands and husbands, or wives and wives struggle to stay together, and divorce is quite a popular activity most recently, and business is no different. So people do struggle to get along with each other, and that will happen in the long term, particularly when times get really tough, and they will get really tough. So I want you to think about tip number 1, go straight in and register it as a company. So then the next question is, well, what should I call it? So that's tip number 2, call it what it is. I've seen too many people. Here's how it plays out. So you start your company, you start working for yourself, you kind of think about this, and then people start, you might be giving elevator pitches, 30-second elevator pitch, first impression kind of thing. You might be talking to people when you go out to dinner with them or at a barbecue. You might be pitching to customers. You might be at a networking event. If you come up with a complicated creative name for your company, then you're going to waste time in your elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is typically 30 seconds to get your message out. If you call your company what it is or what it does in its name, it's going to shorten your elevator pitch and it's going to make your messaging more effective. So don't go come up with a Latin name or a Greek name or some indigenous name or something amazing. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you really need to be very simple and succinct in your company name and try to be as simple and generic as possible. Call it what it is. Say what it does. If you're going to give human resources consulting, call yourself Human Resource Consultants Proprietary Limited or LLC. If you're going to be LinkedIn Advisor, then LinkedIn Advisory LLC or Proprietary Limited. Call it what it is. That's really important, because then when someone asks you what you do or who you work for, you say, well, I'm self-employed. They'll say, what's your company name? LinkedIn Advisors. And they go, oh, okay, I get it. You do LinkedIn Advisory. But if you call yourself Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta Advisors, and they're going to say, well, what does Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta do? Then you've wasted your first opportunity in terms of your first impression, because you've got a creative name, and then you've wasted that. So you want to go straight in and say exactly what it is, and use a term that your customer's going to use. So think about what your customer would call you in terms of if you're a professional service or if it's a product. Think about what the customer's going to call it and try to be generic. As you become successful over time, you can evolve and you can rebrand down the track. I did a really big rebrand in 2009 because I started my company and I called it Simmat and Associates. Simmat's my last name. I called it Simmat and Associates. And in 2009, we rebranded to Best Practice. And so when we started, we were Best Practice Certification, because that's what we did. Now it's become a little bit different. We're business advisory and business coaching, and we look at helping company with best practices, and we look at helping companies with next practices. So we have a business coaching team called Next Practice, and we have our assessment team and our management advisory team called Best Practice. So I want you to take that kind of lesson that I've learned on board with tip number 2 and call your company what it is. Okay, so we've talked about, we want to go straight in, we want to become a company. So you find out who your authority is to register, depending on where you are in the world. Go straight in and register your organization. Think about the ownership structure there. If you're going to go into a partnership, you do need a shareholders agreement. I like to call it a disagreement. And then we want to call that company, when you finally choose a name, exactly what it is. Okay, the next thing that's really important is to go and register your domain names. I use Crazy Domains as a place where I go and register domain names, and think about the handles that you need. Now, it's not just about your domain name, it's also your social media handles. Now, I want you to start, if you're thinking about starting a company, the very first social media handle that I want you to go and register on is TikTok. Now, TikTok is a land grab right now, and I want you to go and do that. Then you can go and set the page up on LinkedIn and YouTube and those kinds of things. And also in Google. So go and lock in your YouTube channel name with a free Google account. So you're starting with TikTok, then maybe you're going to do LinkedIn, then you're going to go and do Google, and you're going to get those things set up and set yourself up with a free Gmail account. And then you can upgrade and start paying for Google Workspace. And I would recommend that you do that. It's much cheaper than Microsoft, and it's a great place to start because you need to be super lean and bootstrap your startup as you get going. Okay, so our 3 tips are register our organization and get our shareholders agreement if we're going to have partners involved. It's not a partnership. Then we're basically going to go down the track, and the third step that I just talked about is registering our social media handles. Now, what's tip number 4? Tip number 4 is starting to write down what success looks like. Now, I've seen lots of people with startups race off and think that they need to raise capital. I literally just came out of a capital raising startup conversation literally 2 minutes before coming on screen and live streaming today. I want you to raise your money through your customers. So I want you to take your idea for your product or service and go and talk to 50 potential customers. You are not an organization, you're not a company, you're not working for yourself, you're not self-employed until you've got your first customer. I want you to go and win your first customer, and I want you to do a pre-sale. Now, this is going to test your idea, and this is where you'll see me saying, don't be a focus group of one. I want you to go down the track and say, okay, here's my idea, here's my product or service, and I'm going to give it to you at a 50% discount, and basically use your customers, get your first sale, pre-launch or rapid launch, before you start your business. So don't burn your own money straight away. Like obviously you're going to be spending some of your own money, but I want you to, as quickly as possible, get your first sale. So you've got to start working on that. So tip number 4 is get your first sale and go and talk to 20 or 50, set yourself a target. Maybe it's 100. Now, when I started my business, I talked to hundreds of people and I continued to do that. I literally didn't give up on the pace. And that's what helped our business grow and scale really quickly. Okay, let's talk about tip number 5. And there's lots of different things that you can do. But I think that tip number 5 is really thinking about your time allocation and what you're going to do in terms of allocating time when you start your business. It's going to be really easy to get caught up in the weeds and be caught in working in your business. And you'll hear people talk about work on your business or work in your business. I think there's kind of 5, maybe 6 pillars to a business. Let's quickly talk about them, or divisions or departments. Eventually, you're going to be wearing all those hats. So initially when you start and you get going, it's just going to be you and you're going to wear all the hats. So what are the hats? You're going to have a salesperson's hat. You're going to have a marketing person's hat. You're going to have a finance person's hat. You're going to have an operations person's hat. You're going to have a human resources person's hat. Maybe you're going to have a systems hat, like an IT tech hat. Maybe you're going to have a legal hat and a contracts kind of hat. Maybe there's 7 hats. There's 7 days in the week. And so I would recommend setting yourself an alarm or setting yourself a time in your calendar to work on each of those departments. So Sunday, that's going to be maybe the legal hat. Monday's going to be the salesperson's hat, coming up with sales process. Tuesday's maybe going to be the marketing hat, where you do some social media and work on your website. Wednesday's going to be some operational, like doing work kind of hat and looking at automation of processes. Thursday's maybe going to be your human resources. And you can see my point. So think about working for 1 hour, even a minimum of half an hour, each day of the week on your business, figuring out how to automate things, how to improve things, how to document things as you build your organization. Now, bonus tip number 6 is, what's the very first policy or procedure I should put together? That is your onboarding, hiring, retaining, keeping. How am I going to find great people? How am I going to find A players process or procedure? Because you got to build a company, right? And right back at the beginning where we said, in thinking about, 1, 2, or 3 or 4 years from now, what does success look like? You've got a team. Well, you've got to hire and onboard people, and then people are going to start turning over. People are going to leave. How long is it going to be until your first person leaves? Like, you're thinking about putting somebody on and employing, having employees and kind of growing this organization. Well, eventually someone's going to leave, and your first person's going to quit, or you're going to fire them, or you're going to disagree, or you're going to fight with each other and they're going to walk out, or they're going to move away, or something's going to happen. So start thinking about that in advance. But Andrew Grove, in his book, High Output Management, talks about the fact that that should be the first policy or procedure that you would develop and implement in your organization. And I absolutely agree. Okay, one more bonus tip, and then we'll hand it over for questions. We haven't got many people on the live stream today. So if you are watching, Elite Engineering, hey, Hayden, good to see you there on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. So I hope this is helping. And the comments are a really great place to ask questions. Like, you've literally got me live. I've got 15 more minutes until I need to go to a board meeting. So I'm going to stay on for maybe another 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less if there's no questions. But what was my bonus tip going to be? I just lost my train of thought because I looked at the dashboard, is to start thinking about, we want to hire and retain and look after A players. And we're going to be looking at this thing called get it, want it capacity as we start to build our team. So when you're talking to people, don't just get your friend's mother or your mate's girlfriend to come and work for you. You've got to be assessing people, and you want to be bringing on A players, because A players are going to help your business grow really quickly. So in thinking about the next 12 months, what does success look like? If you need to picture that, what does this new company, or what does your company look like? How many people have you got? What customers have you got? What products and services are you providing? What revenue are you doing? What profit are you making of that revenue? These are all really important questions that you can ask yourself. And if you can answer those things, that is starting to form your business plan, which is really, really exciting. And then you can kind of have a really rough budget and you can kind of get going. But let's go back to first principles. What do we need to do? The first thing we need to do is choose a corporate structure. And I would recommend a company, and basically going and doing that. So if you're in any of the countries that have the Westminster system of government and the corporations law that we have here in Australia or in the UK or in New Zealand, or the corporations laws of, say, Delaware in the US. It's proprietary limited or company, limited company or corporation or LLC as they have in the US. And I want you to go straight in and do that. And if you're going to bring partners in, if it's going to be a partnership, you really need to build a disagreement. How are we going to pull this thing apart if it goes pear-shaped? How are we going to walk away from each other and not kill each other? Because I've made the mistake going into partnership with people and not having a shareholders agreement. Okay, couple of comments there on LinkedIn. Can you just refresh LinkedIn for me if that's possible? Because I can see 2 comments. So let me know where you are in the world that you're watching from. I've got a dashboard up here right beside me. Good morning, Stan. Good to have you on board. Hello, Luke. You're here in the studio. Someone watching from Syria, and you're in customer service. Thank you very much for joining us. You're very welcome. It is always valuable information. I hope I'm helping with everybody. Is there any other comments there? We've got everybody. Okay. Has anybody got any questions? And I'm going to stay on. There's a little bit of a lag, so there's a couple of seconds lag. I'll give you 5 more minutes. I hope this has been helpful in terms of how to start your business. I think the critical point is go and get your first sale. And even if you've got a business that you started, go and get your next sale. And if you can get customers to pay you before the product or service, then that's the true test that they value your product or service. Hey, Matthew in the US, great to have you on board. Thank you for joining us today. If you guys have got any questions, just drop them there in the comments. If you don't feel comfortable asking a public question and you do want my advice on something, send me a personal message on LinkedIn. So you can just hit the direct message, wait till we finish live streaming, and I will be answering questions. You know, I'm always on, I check my LinkedIn direct messages once a day. And if they're good quality questions, I'll come back and answer them. So there's no silly question around this particular topic. If you're thinking about getting started or you want to grow your company and get it moving, then absolutely I can help with that. So I'm more than happy to take questions either here in the comments on the dashboard. I've got a great big screen up beside me with everybody's comments there. I can see them. Oh, Frankston in Victoria. What a great place. Bit chilly down there today. Hayden, thanks for watching from Melbourne. Okay, so have a think about your corporate structure. Go and sell to a customer. Get your domain names and particularly social media handles all lined up. Call your company what it is. Try not to be too creative with it. I know that we can spend time, and it's nice to be a little bit creative, but you do waste your breath in an elevator pitch. You really want to be calling it what it is and keep it super simple and keep it really generic, and even ask your potential customers. If you've already got people that you're talking to that are potential customers for your product or service, you say, hey, how'd you like to get involved in naming the company? Let me know what if you've got ideas for a great name, I'm going to have a bit of a competition and I'll buy you a gift in exchange for helping me come up with a creative name for the company. And that's something that you can help with. And it's really good customer engagement. What do you think the product should have in it, or the service? What are the things that you like? What are the things that you value? It's a great way to engage with your customers. Particularly, we want a rapid sell and we want to get that pre-launch, because that's the true test. I see too many people sitting in a dark room in the middle of the night, creating things and writing things and building things, and those products and services never sell because it was a stupid idea. So I don't want you to, the way to test to see if you've got a stupid idea is to try to sell it to someone and get their money. Don't go and ask your friends for advice. Go and ask people, the people you are seeking to serve, the people you are seeking to help, who have got the problem that you solve. Go and think about that. Think about the benefits they're looking for and show them that you're going to give them that benefit and say, hey, in exchange for a 50% discount, because I'm starting my company and we're launching a product or service, would you pay for the product or service with a 50% discount up front while we get it ready? Authors do it all the time with book pre-launches. So I've bought a number of books. There's a bunch of books up here on the shelf. There's a yellow one, I can't think of the name right now, that I recently bought. And it took 6 months. I paid for it 6 months before it was launched because I trusted that author, and that was a pre-launch. And products that we're rapid launching, 100% start with Why Hayden. That is one of my absolute favorite books. It is, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so in terms of actually the first days of starting your business, Start With Why is a book that we give to every single new person here at Best Practice. It is mandatory reading. It's the very first book that we ask people to read. So You've got your why, how, and your what. Let me give you our why. The why here at Best Practice is helping organizations to be great places to work, great places to buy from. So your customers have a great buying experience that's influenced because I'm influencing you, and that your company is valuable, and maybe down the track you might be able to sell that company. That'd be amazing. So our why here at Best Practice is we're inspired to help organizations to be great places to work at, great places to buy from, and great places to invest in. And our mission here at Best Practice is to inspire improvement in 100 million companies globally. How do we do that? We do that with business coaching. We do that with recruitment and placing people in your company. We do that with coaching. We do that with videos. And when I talk about my why, you now understand why I give away all this great free information. That's why I do it, because I want to inspire you to grow and improve. Maybe down the track, from watching lots of videos, you'll trust me enough to engage us for coaching. And that's when we can really accelerate the growth of your company. We have a great team of business coaches who have got great systems and processes to hold you accountable in exactly the same way as a personal trainer can help you to more efficiently achieve your results in the gym. That's exactly what we do here at Next Practice and Best Practice, is we have people that will more efficiently keep you focused on the right things, because we do it every day. You're focused on running your company. We're going to be like coaches and help you guys to improve over time. That's what we do here. So Hayden, congratulations on reading Start With Why by Simon Sinek. The next book I'd recommend from my shelf for you after that book would be Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, and The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, because selling is so important. And a lot of us kind of start businesses, but we're not trained sales professionals. We're technicians. We're very good at our particular technical area, either products or services, and we don't learn that process. So I think those two books are really good. There's plenty more, Hayden. Please reach out to me anytime when and if you want advice. Okay, I'm going to call it there, because I can see the board members of our board meeting that is due to start in 5 minutes gathering outside the studio. So please feel free to drop me a direct message on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to help. So if you don't see me on Instagram, if you're not following me on Instagram, please get on. My handle is @Kobi Simmat. Get onto Instagram and follow me on Instagram. I'd really appreciate that. It really helps with the algorithm when you guys get on. And if you see any posts from me on social media, please smash that like button so that we can keep serving you the content. So if you don't see me, you're very welcome, Hayden. No problems whatsoever. If you don't see me on Instagram, you could check out Facebook. The Best Practice Facebook page is getting a little bit of traction. And if you don't see me on LinkedIn, you're definitely going to see me right here next time on Best Practice TV, live on YouTube, same time, same place, every week. My name's Kobi Simmat. I'm the CEO of Best Practice. Thanks for your time today. Bye for now.